Greetings Midcoast Ukers, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new ukulele tutorial. Today I'd like to talk about the anatomy of a song sheet, how to read a song sheet and figure out what all the little symbols are and just make your way through it. If you're singing a song for the first time, sometimes that's a little daunting. You might not get all the information you need from your first glance at the song sheet, but I'll teach you a little bit about what it's like to look at a song sheet from a professional musician standpoint and what kind of things we glean from it and gather from it. So I have a song sheet up here, and it is Jambalaya. It's the same version of Jambalaya we've been doing at our summer jams, which we just enjoyed our last one of the summer yesterday. And then we're going to be moving indoors soon. But Jambalaya in G. So right away the title tells you Jambalaya in G. Well, we're going to be in the key of G. And for some of you, you might already derive some meaning from that the key of G means that G is the main chord in the song. It's the chord that usually the song begins on and oftentimes ends on and is used the most frequently of all the chords in the song. G is it. That's the focal point. And then if you know a little bit more about music theory, you would know that there's some other chords in the key of G. Maybe you know that the 4 chord is C. Maybe you know that the 5 chord is D or D7. And that by itself is very valuable information. If you're even further into music theory, you might even know all 7 of the chords, that it's G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G. But that's it's okay if you don't know that yet. If that's the level of music theory that you've yet to get to, that's perfectly okay. Not a problem. But if you at least know that the key of G means you're probably going to be using a G chord a lot in a song, that's good. That is a very good place to start. Alright, so I'm going to grab the song sheet here. And I see Jambalaya in G as the title. I see some chord diagrams at the top. All Midcoast Ukes song sheets have handy chord diagrams, so you don't have to go fishing around for your chord sheets or your cheat sheets or look on your phone or something. They're right there. And then I see, it says intro, so that means there's going to be a part before the singing starts. And you want to get familiar with that intro, so we'll go back and look at that in more detail later. But that's the first thing I see under Jambalaya in G. I see the word intro. So that's the meaning I get, is that, there's going to be some instrumental music before we sing. I'll take a mental note of that and get back to that later. Then I look further, and I see, that intro is 4 measures, and there's no indication that the song is in a signature other than 4/4, and so we always assume if it doesn't specify 3/4, 6/8, 12/8, 5/4, whatever the time signature is, it's always in 4/4, common time, 4 beats per measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like I count off most of our songs, 4 beats. So there's 4 measures with 4 beats apiece. That's good to know. We'll check out what the chords are later, but at least we know the intro is 4 bars long. So even if you don't play the intro, even if you're still getting your song sheet situated on your music stand, or you just tuned up your ukulele and you're not quite ready, at least you're reading along. At least you know that you're hearing 4 measures before the singing starts, so you have time to prepare. We're always looking ahead. That's one of my main points I want to get across in this video, is that don't just stare at the moment that you're on, right on the song sheet. Try to look ahead a little bit. Try to see what's coming up so it doesn't take you by surprise. You should be processing what you're looking at the moment, but you should be processing what's coming along in the near future. So a good musician always looks ahead on their music. Whether you're looking at a ukulele song sheet like this, a piece of sheet music, a piece of tablature, anything you're reading, or your own little, you might have your own way of writing these things out. So there's that. And then we get to verse 1. Well, verse 1, that tells me there's going to be other verses. So this only applies to this particular verse. It wouldn't have said verse 1 if there weren't other verses. If there was only a single verse repeated over and over in the song, it would have just said verse. So that automatically, I assume verse 1 means there's going to be a verse 2 and maybe even a verse 3. We'll see what happens when we get further into it. And then I start seeing lyrics, so obviously singing, and I see chords above the lyrics. So how do you know where the chords go in relation to the lyrics? Well, John Elberfeld and myself, we take a lot of care to try to line that up, to try to get the actual beginning of where the chord starts right on top of the word where you sing. So the chord G in the verse is right above the word Joe in this Jambalaya. So goodbye doesn't have a chord. Goodbye. But then when you get to Joe, that's the downbeat. That's beat number 1 in the song. And that's where you start really strumming a G chord. So, and then you want to count from there. You want to count goodbye, Joe, me gotta go. So you're trying to think about that. You have one measure of G there. That's 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple. Then you got another 4 beats of G on the word go, starting on the word go. Now don't think that lyrics always line up with the beats. You don't always have the words that you're singing fall neatly on beats. I know that drives some people crazy, but that's just how music is. Music would be very boring if everything always happened on the beat. So some of these lyrics are sung on the off beats. But when you're playing, you don't have to play the off beats or up strums. You can just do down strums just to keep time if you want to focus on your singing and not have your ukulele playing distract or be too complicated. So I keep reading through and I see a line. And actually, I observed that there's 4 lines to this verse. That's kind of important, that the verse is divided evenly. So you have lines 1, 2, 3, and 4. So my eyes see that, and they say, well, geez, I better check out what are the contents of line 1? What's line 2 have in it? Line 3, are they different chords? Is it the same chords? Do they happen slower? Do they happen faster? What words do the chords line up on? And then on and on. So I go through that verse, and by the time I'm done, I've read 16 measures of music. And then I see in color there, it's colored in, it says chorus. So I know the chorus of the song, the repeating part of the song, the part that's the same every time you repeat it is coming up. And that's jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. Also, I noticed that, some of these words are Cajun words, and I don't know how to pronounce Cajun words very well, so I take a mental note of that. It says jambalaya, but doesn't the song really go jambalaya? So, you got to kind of know a little bit about pronunciation if it's in a different dialect like this is. Crawfish pie, filet gumbo. You might not know how to pronounce that, filet gumbo. You might look at that and say, oh, it's fillet or something. So that's just an observation that I would make, as you want to go back and learn how to pronounce the words. Because tonight I'm going to see my cher amie. Cher amie is, I guess, Cajun. It's kind of French. Cher amie would be your loved one. My chérie amour, the French. So you got pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and bigeo. Son of a gun, we're going to have big fun on the bio. All that makes sense if you've never heard the song. It just sort of lines up in a really sensible way, and you might not know exactly how it's going to sound, but you can see the way it sits on the page that these lines are really uniform and neat and even. All right, and then you go to the second page and you got verse 2. So it's the same idea, but very different words. It's not goodbye Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Now it's Thibodeau, Fontenot, the place is buzzing. And I try to pronounce those. I don't know if I'm pronouncing them right. I might have to go and listen to Hank Williams singing this to get the pronunciation. But Thibodeau, Fontenot, the place is buzzing. Kinfolk come to see Yvonne by the dozen. You can see the rhymes going on there. Buzzing rhymes with dozen. So that's something to make a mental note of. But when I look at this verse 2, it looks exactly like verse 1. It's 16 measures. It's 4 lines. It's just different lyrics. And then you got son of a gun, we're going to have big fun on the bio. That's the same way the first verse ended. So that's a mental note that I make, is that the second verse ends exactly like the first verse. When I look down at the third verse, that ends exactly the same as those 2 verses. So there's a similarity. Try to make note of the similarity between verses. When you have stuff that you don't have to read over and over, you can just kind of assume that you have some similarities and also notice differences. So anyway, we did verse 2, and then it says play chorus. Doesn't tell you anything more than play the chorus. So your eyes have to naturally go back to page 1 and look at the chorus, unless you have it memorized. Some of us have played this song so many times we don't have to look at the chorus. We know how it goes. All right. Another thing I noticed is there's only 2 chords in this song. There's only 2 diagrams, and so far the song has only used those 2 chords, G and D7. So that makes it kind of easy to play, easy to memorize, not a problem. And then it says instrumental. Well, sometimes I have to admit, when we do instrumentals and I take a little solo, it kind of falls apart a little bit underneath me. You guys sometimes have a little trouble holding it down. So let's learn how to do that. Let's talk about that right here and now. How do you hold it down when someone's doing a solo? Well, you want to keep a steady rhythm. You want to give that soloist the steadiest beat you possibly can. Even if what you're playing isn't fancy, even if it's not show-offy, even if it's super simple, it's got to be solid. So I look at that instrumental and I see 2 bars of G. I see 2 bars of D7. I see 2 more bars of D7. I see 2 bars of G. Well, geez, that's just like the verse. And that's just like the chorus. All the parts of this song have exactly the same chords in exactly the same order. There's no mystery to this song. It's an easy one. And then I see another line of an instrumental with exactly the same stuff. So during the instrumental, I might be doing something. I might go... I'll be doing something like that, but that means you have to hold that down behind me. You have to go... or whatever you happen to be doing. It could be as simple as... that would suffice if it was that simple. Or slightly more complicated. I'd be real happy if I heard that. If I heard the whole group going boom chicka behind my solo and holding it down and keeping it together, listening to the bass and locking in with the bass, I would be super happy. That would be the ideal thing for me to take off on top of. And when the band feeds the soloist a steady rhythm and a reliable chord change and predictable, the soloist can just take off and do so much more. But if the soloist is worried that the band behind them is not holding it together, that creates quite a bit of anxiety and you can't concentrate. You lose your focus and your solo ends up not being nearly as good as it would have been if you had a tight band behind you. So we're going to try to be a tight band as best we can. After the instrumental, you got verse 3. It's the same stuff again. It just has later on, swap my mon, get a P-row, and I'll catch all the fish on the bayou. It's different lyrics with some of that Cajun dialect, but it is not different musically. And finally it says play chorus 2 times. Well, that is literally what it says. You do the chorus and you do the chorus again. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo, blah blah blah, etc. And then you do that whole thing again. So it's a 16-bar chorus, 16-bar chorus repeated. Then finally it says, son of a gun, we're going to have big fun on the bayou. And I see, oh, there's a little thing at the end there. It says, repeat last line as shown to end. So, son of a gun, going to have big fun on the bayou is repeated. And then it says G, D7, G, hold. And it doesn't have any strum indication, so we can assume each one of those is 1 time. So, that is indeed our ending. That's how we end the song. And hold simply means to hold that chord until the leader cuts you off. And oftentimes a cut off looks like this. When the leader's hand goes out like that, that's a cut off. You also might just see me go like that with my uke, which is more often what I do. Because I'm playing, so I can't conduct. I'm not conducting like a vocal group. I'm using my uke to conduct. So when you see me go like that, that's the cut off. So when I go like that, you can silence your uke or you can do one last hit. It's up to you, or we can work that out. I'll specify ahead of time if I wanted something specific. So there you go, Midcoast Ukers, the anatomy of a song sheet, jambalaya in G. That's everything you need to know about how to read something like that. And maybe we'll look at some other songs in the future and make sure everybody's up on reading song sheets. All right, Midcoast Ukers, you take care, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.